How's everybody doing this morning? I haven't invited anybody into the group. Like I haven't sent out an announcement, or what do they call it? The APB, the notification that we're live right now. So you guys are the real deal and everyone else is not. And fuck them. So we'll just hey, if they don't want to come take advantage of the group, that's their own deal. Good morning, Mark. You are a real one. And don't forget to follow my Twitter, you guys. I pretty active on Twitter. I'd say probably that's my most active social platform. In case you don't know where it's at, it's right here. I'll post it right now. I didn't have the chat up. There we go. Good morning to you, Randy Winkler Adams, designer of the Declaration of Independence. Let's see here. So the Qs are about to make a new all-time high. I thought I heard that the S&P did yesterday. Okay, no, it did not, but it was damn close. And then this morning it did. So we've made new highs right now. Marcus, good morning. You are a real one. Welcome in. Okay, we're going to talk about that inflation and we're going to look at that right now. Just one sec. Click, click, click. And where am I at? What am I doing? Where am I at? What am I doing? Where am I at? What am I doing? Checking the inflation. Here we go. Okay, so get that little pop-up off. So core year over year and then regular year over year. We were expecting regular year over year inflation to be 3.5% for full across the board inflation, averaged of everything. And it came at 3.4%. That's so good. Remember, that's just what I'm talking about. Like get those wigglings, but it's like flipping coins right now. So it could go either way. But the signs are that we're topping a flat. We're flat. We're flat on inflation. And then non everything, when you take out stuff that's far more periodic, you get core inflation. And core inflation altogether was expected to be 3.6%, maybe 3.7%. Forecast was for 3.7%, 3.7, and it was prior 3.8. Now it's not 3.7, it's 3.6. So it came back better than we expected on all metrics, better than we expected by just a little bit. And that's why the market responded positively. But I'll tell you what, we're at all-time highs here. We're at all-time highs. Right now on the market, we are at all-time highs on the Qs, on the S&P 500, and then let's check the Dow. The Dow is almost there. It's just about to pop. Once the Dow gets on board, that's all three major markets of the world uh, at new all-time highs on a day in which inflation was improving more than we expected. I think that's going to be a good day. Sometimes what happens is institutionals will sell into a moment like this if they've been making a lot of short-term, hedging wagers, short-term trades. So the day could also have a little bit of pressure here just because there could be a lot of unloading. But I believe that unloading would be in the form of rotation. So you might see the market unloading, but you'll probably see the Qs doing well because those are all the growth stocks and nobody wants to get out of those. But you might see utilities, uh, um, financials, healthcare, staples, consumer staples, flat or not quite as performing as growth. Pre-market, what I'm seeing is, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing so far, and we haven't opened the market, so I can't say that this is what it is and what it's going to be. We need some minutes and 10 minutes, 30 minutes of trading to transpire. But it looks to me like an all tides rising. Everything is up across the board. And can anyone tell me what you can expect on all tides rising days? Does anybody remember? Marcus probably, perhaps, maybe has the answer. Although Marcus, are you the one that's in the Dominican? If you're still down there, how is everything? And if you have a moment away from your continental breakfast, can you type what we can expect from a day where it's an all tides rising day? I know RJ knows this because I don't know, he's like my fucking right arm practically. But like somebody here, remember? What can we expect from all tides rising days? How the hell does it know those that I have arms? Like it cuts me out, right, properly from my background, but it also knows these are arms. That's so weird. So if I had a statue behind me, would it be showing it? That's funny. I should get a replica of me right next to me, just so that it will cut it out. All right. Looks like no answer. Maybe he's still typing. No answer. So on an all tides rising day, okay, an all tides rising day, what you can kind of expect is for the market to run green all day. It usually is a slow simmering green move all day. No, nothing amazing. Sometimes there'll be some areas of manipulation and pullback, but when you look back at it at the end of the day, an all tides rising day, meaning every sector moving up the same, usually almost always, I gotta say probably with a 80 or a 90% predictive certainty, runs green all day. And what was I going to say about that? And well, I don't know what I was going to say about that, but yeah, that is potentially what we can expect. And oh, I know what I was going to say. We usually get those days about once a month. You get one day every 20 trading days, one day every 30 real days, is an all tides rising, smooth, all day, up day. So there's a high chance that that's the case here, but we have very little information to go on so far. Okay, so like it's like we're still quite in the dark as far as making sure our information is for certain. That reminds me, I'm going to pull up my Tradeovate account then and potentially slap some contracts, grab some buy, with some long on the market. Where is it? Is it in a login screen somewhere? Oh my good God, it's huge and it's on the wrong screen. Over here, Tradeovate. That's my login and password. We'll see in a second here. And it is. All right, start trading. Perfect. It set it up right in the little corner of my other screen. Good job. All right, well, I'm ready to go if that's what the market's going to do. So that's a little side trade. Now, Randy, you said, do any of the rules change because of that? No. I'm not even sure that's a good question. The rules never change. We, uh, make discretionary decisions that override rules sometimes, but I think if I'm thinking right, Randy, that's always on an individual position by position basis. The only difference is you could consider your hedge, whether or not to have your hedge. I took off my hedge the other day. I mentioned that in the group somewhere. So, yes, sir, Bob. Yeah, it was a good CPI report. So where did I mention that? Somewhere. I put like, dropped my hedge. I think it was 1 or 2 days ago. And I'm not entirely sure why I did that, but in the moment, it had to be a really overwhelming decision because it would take a lot for me to drop my hedge in this environment. Remember, we got the geopolitical tensions out there. But frankly, I should have put it on. I should have put it back on at the end of the day yesterday because CPI was coming today. Trying to see if I have a prominent mention of that I dropped my hedges. When that was, and maybe I even talked about it. As to the reason why, I could probably look at the chart and see the reason why. I'm scrolling through posts right now. Find it. I'm pretty sure it was before the GME craze. It's a lot to juggle when you think about it, by the way. You got your positions, you got to think about hedges. If you have bonds, you have to think about rates. You have to think about which way are rates going. Do I need to hedge my rates? You have to think about which way is the market going. Do I need to hedge my positions? You have to think about which way is my positions going. Do I need to take profits or cut the thing? There's a lot to think about. Definitely a lot of moving parts to manage, your own portfolio. Okay, it probably was before the TDA switch over even. You know what? I'll just look at the position history account statement, go to QQQ, and we closed it on the 14th at 10:30 in the morning. Is that right? Let me see. Yes, the 14th at 10:30 in the morning. That would have been yesterday in the morning. I think it was because of the positive reaction off of PPI um, that I figured that's going to kick things off. That was roughly probably the thesis there, and I took it off. And plus, we were at almost all-time highs here. We were so close, and now today, that whole what's the word forecast prediction has come to pass. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, that was yesterday, and maybe I didn't mention it, but I think I did in maybe the options and passive income thing. But there you go. I probably mentioned it on a live stream. I took off my hedge. So I don't know if your hedge is still on anybody. You did? Okay, well that's good. Why did you take it off, Randy? Good job. I got loving that pullback on the 30-year on rates. Very nice drop on rates this morning. So that will positively affect the bonds. Did anybody get bonds yesterday? Because if you get the May Treasury bonds, if you get the ones that pay out, they pay out today. So I picked up some yesterday. Now, if you think about it, let's say they're going to pay out. It's $25 per $1,000 that they're going to pay out. I think say 5% roughly. 5% of $1,000 is $50. They're going to pay out twice a year, so it's like $25 each. Okay, we're using rough math here. So if you were to get on May 14, right before the payout, that bond, uh, its value is going to be worth $25 less than it was before the last payout, by a bit there. There's going to be an adjustment, in other words. So the closer you get to that payout, just like a dividend paying stock can do the same, plus or minus, the way the face value fluctuates due to inflation and rates moving around. But it's not like you're going to get $25 for free that somebody else isn't getting, right? Somebody's going to sell it to you for $24.90 less or more, I guess you could say. And then boom, you get that $25. So, but all in all, in the long run, it's fine because if you're buying 30-year bonds, you're talking about a penny. You're talking about like it's very small amount, and you're going to be getting that for 30 years. Or you trade it back in a year or two when rates are down and you've doubled your money. So bonds are pretty cool in that sense. All right. So the market's what's the word? Snapped up to a level from 446 to 448 on the Qs, and SPY is up as well. The Qs are up 0.55% pre-market, and if SPY has moved the same amount, we can almost always expect that the Qs will move 31% more than the S&P 500 on any given day. And so if we do the math, we should be able to predict how much SPY is up and get a little correlation forecast out of that. And so you just go, okay, 0.55%. We want to see what's that figure divided by 1.31, 0.42%. So we should see a 42% increase. I don't think I did that right, but we should see a 42% increase on SPY. Let's see what we got here. 49% or 8%. So S&P 500 potentially slightly doing better than Qs, but right at that moment I noticed the Qs are now up only 50%. So if I change that number to 50, does that, I don't think I'm doing the math right here. No, 38.1%, 1 divided by 1.31 times 0.5, 38%. It's the same difference. Okay, good. Yeah, I did the math. I two different ways and it came out the same. So anyway, it looks like the S&P 500 is going to be a little bit stronger today. That tells me that there's still some defensiveness about where we're at. In other words, because the S&P 500 is filled with lots of value stocks, and yet it's holding better than the Qs. It's moving better than the Qs, or it's holding better than the Qs on this move. It tells me that there's not a lot of taking out of value and defensives right now and rotating it into the growth. So this is a defensive. So we remain potentially defensive on the day. I am curious to see though if we get an all tides rising day, because it still takes 10 to 30 minutes to an hour to really see where all the money flow is going on the day. And pre-market, do we have anything extraordinary? We've got NXT and SRAD. That's pretty much it, and VOD and new. But none of those are super liquid, I don't think. NXT, I'll take a real quick look. We got like 2 minutes before they open. Oh yeah, that's not interesting anyway. And then we still have GME and AMC that we're watching to see if those are going to move around. Wow, the VIX is back under 13. It's like far, far better of a place than it feels like we're at. Like, look at that. VIX was at 2150, which is, I mean, which is not extraordinarily high. That's just, you know, a tension moment. 20, 25, 30. That's like, oh God, panic. But we are all the way back down to 13. And just the other day, though, we were even at 12.5. So, maybe we'll futz around with those levels again. The most recent low on the VIX was 11.8. Yeah, we're entering a period of relatively tame market movement, which is good. And I'm very curious to see how today's transpires. First, because I did mention it. Okay. And second, because it made sense. All right. I must have explained the thesis much better yesterday because I don't even remember. I mean, that's how I keep myself objective, not caring too much about memorizing and more relying and resting on evaluating. It means that, a minute later, I can have a different opinion. So I can say one thing 1 minute and then a minute later have a different opinion. Doesn't matter to me. You need to get to the egoless level like that where, you're completely okay with being wrong because the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. Always remember that. Don't be running around going like, but that doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck? Nah, I'm gonna hold that because that doesn't make sense. It's gonna turn around. Yeah, it'll bankrupt you first, and then it'll become rational. We'll play that game. Trade what you see, not what you think, not what's in your head, not what you imagine, not what you hear, not what you read. Trade what you see. Oh, I think I just got a fill on something. The market is open, guys. Got a fill at the 50% level on VRT. All right. Oh, big alert on SGML. We looked at that earlier. I don't think that was anything to be concerned about. All right. We have a gap open up red at first. And right off the open, let's check what kind of stocks we have of interest, if there's anything else. ARC T, New Core, ARC T and New Core. Let's take a look at them. And off of the open, we got red. We're mostly red off of the open. So the all tides rising, not happening yet. ARC T, that's not really a catalyst entry point. And then there was New Core or whatever it is, New Holdings. This is good. This pivot breakout, new. So does it provide the liquidity in the options? It's doubtful, but let's take a look. I'm pretty much going with the July 19s now because there's only 37 days left on the June 21s. But it depends. I'm going back and forth between the two expirations, checking liquidity whenever I'm looking at getting into something. Yeah, there's huge gobs, huge amounts of open interest on it, but it doesn't look too liquid. And yeah, sure enough, the bid-ask spreads on new are near 50%. Not good. So good. Our rules will keep us out of that trade. All right. I'll enter along on the market here and we'll see what happens. I'll just, run it as a trade, see what happens. So that's what I'm doing over on trade of 8, letting that run a little bit. Because it is going green now. Trade with your eyes, not your ears, folks. Yes. Oliver Kell, U.S. investing champion, mentioned app. I'd like to take a look at it. I think I already have a position in it, or I've been in it many times. Yeah, probably good for a call credit spread at this point. Something else of mine just got filled. That was Dell. I can thank Randy for getting me a little more diligent about putting in my 50% TPs. But Dell, where are you at? Dell. 77% this morning. All right. Dell filled at, yeah, my 50% point, and I still got several contracts left. So we'll see how that goes on the day. All right. We are equalized, I'd say 50-50 off of the open. Growth stocks and opportunities are maybe a slightly more red off of the open, just slightly. So about 54% to 46%. But in the leading spots, we've got, well, GME is up 3.6 from the open. That's what it shows there, but I'm not really seeing that. Maybe it's halted or something. I'm not really seeing that. And then fix, we can take a look at that. Anybody's got any tickers for me? Let me know. I'll check them out. We always want to stay on top of all opportunities here. Yeah, fix looks great. Do I already have it? No. I mean, this would be great for a PCS, or this is a cheat entry right here. Very nice move it's made recently. The reason I probably don't have it is because the options are probably not liquid enough. Yeah, the options are just super illiquid. So unfortunately, there you go on that. VRT, I'm already getting out of that trade that I'm already in. Hit a 50% profit point right here. I got into put credit spread in and alerted that about 6 days ago. But this is all-time high breakout right there on VRT, so it just continues to be outstanding. Looks like the call, if the trajectory and the call credit spread can stay under this angle or stay above it, I might get a call credit spread on VRT right here, and just because it's a nice little extended push up point, and got to take a look at that, and that will convert it to an iron condor as well. But let's see. Yeah, that would be like the 115 is 26 delta. I probably have to go with the 120, 125. Doesn't pay super well. 55 out of 445, 13% for an 18 delta. But I wanted to plot the trajectory on that, and I'm very curious to see what angle that is. Let's see from here, 55 cents above, was it 120? So 120.55. Yeah, see, that looks quite doable. This angle here, this is sort of the rate that we slam upside. And you could see From here, that actually exceeds it and protects it. So I'm going to go ahead and go for that. Now, Phil, is anybody out there with liquidity? Give me that fill. Well, if I do get filled, that's the trajectory, and I'll just write it in. Oh, there we go. I believe. Yes, got that. So I'm in there, and I was already in the put credit spread. So now that locks it together, and I just theta out for the next, week or two on that. And that's a way to sell. In some sense, think of it this way: that's a way to sell to close your put spread. So if you got a put position, I mean, if you have puts on something and then you want to close them out because they've been profitable, and in this case we're selling them, so they're up is down. But then if you were to buy calls, just think about that from just the vanilla options trading perspective. If you have puts on something, then if you buy calls, that's like selling it because it sort of freezes everything from loss. If you buy the same number of calls, it locks in the price. Of course, you're going to lose data over time for having that, and there's almost no sense in doing that, having both sides. But there is if you're selling the options because instead of losing data, you're actually gaining data in that situation. All right, cool. What'd you say? Bitcoin is up big? Yeah, Bitcoin's doing pretty good, about 65,000. We can look at that chart. That's an entry on Bitcoin, entry signal on Bitcoin. It's had it's had several entry signals, one, two, three, four. This is the fifth entry signal since the peak. So, but it is an entry signal, and you never know. You never know which one's going to be a nice big run. So, there goes Bitcoin. What's one of the top? Probably the grayscale. GBTC. Essentially, GBTC could be where you could get an ETF version of Bitcoin. Now, let me see. Does that have options? It doesn't even have options. They probably won't allow options yet on um, crypto. All right. Let's see here. How's the market going? The market's neither here nor there. Back and forth. Doji up high. As far as rotation goes, actually, I'm seeing defensives doing better than growth. Defensives and value stocks are doing better than growth. So therefore, this is probably going to be our red day in growth. And we are seeing that for the most part, we are majority red. And Marcus says BitX. BitX has options. And how liquid is it? Close to okay. Not super liquid, about 20% spreads. I go out to wow, it doesn't have July 19. It has only quarterlies. Uh, wow, so I'd have to go June 21. And in that case, the 20 delta is 32. Uh, oh, the spread is too wide. Yeah, so can't do the options on that. But there you go. BitX could be okay, or GBTC for getting it on the shares basis. All right, let's see here. So continuing on NRG, that still hasn't, the options still haven't lined up to be worthwhile on NRG, but I love NRG. I mean, just for shares trading, this is great. NRG definitely signaling, but let me take a look at the options and see if I want to check on them every now and then because one of these days maybe they'll line up to being doable. 19th of July. Interestingly enough, they're not terrible, and yet the open interest in the volume is terrible, but the bid-ask spreads are not terrible. But it is a sign that you're going to get trapped in that trade. And the deltas and the strikes skip too much. The strikes are not really in concordance with the stock's strong volatility. So the difference between strikes deltas are too high. It goes 31 and then 18 and then 9. That's no good. So for many reasons, we don't want that. Let's see here. What else is on the list? VRT, YPG, I think that's Chinese stock. No, Sociedad Anonima. Energy Minerals, Integrated Oil, 4% ADR, $23 stock. Recently had a catalyst day. Volume's been very elevated ever since. It's on a bit of a run since then. From that low to this high, 157% in 182 days. Pretty decent. I doubt the options are liquid enough, but that's an interesting opportunity. YPF, you know, the options are about 30% wide, so that's not good. YPF cart, which I I might even be in, or I might have sold at a profit recently. And let me see. No, I don't have any cart, but that could be a good maybe iron condor. See, because it has top side negative reaction, creating a lot of resistance up there. And then here we are down at these lows, creating a lot of support. Why do I not have a cart iron condor? I'm guessing because the options were not good. Let's see. If I go out to, well, for an iron condor, I'll probably go June 21. So delta is 32 strike. That's perfectly doable and about 15% wide, not terrible. And it's paying 25% ROC. Again, then on the top side, the call credit spread would be at 39. That's perfect. That's right at resistance. And how is its liquidity? Not great, but the bid-ask spread is not terrible. Oops, did I click buy? No, I click sell. Good. And then buy back the 40. And that's offering a little bit less, 15, but that's to be expected. 18%. So that's actually a doable trade. I'm going to put that on. Iron Condor. Here it goes on cart, June 21, 32.31, 39.40. I typed that in wrong. 32.31, 39.40. There we go. And let's see if I can widen those for my own personal taste. For my size, I need to make those wider. Okay, and in that case, so that cuts down my contract fees in half. It gets me a little bit larger size, and I'm getting 65 divided by 135, 48% return on capital. Ooh wee, gotta love the iron condors. All right, let's take 10 of those. I think should put me into the right size category. Yeah, I even have to get like 12. Nice. Let's see if I can get a fill. Boom. Get off. It's a whole iron condor. You're asking a lot. You're asking to get filled on 4 different options positions simultaneously. So it's under pressure to hit a certain sweet spot to come in from the sell side, come in from the buy sides on both, on the puts and the calls, and get, like triangulate into the zone. You need price to move just right. You got to let that gestate a little bit, and you might need to adjust your price. So we'll see. We're gonna let that work, but it would look like this. So you see, what my basis for it was this: a couple of things. Get the annotation tools up. Here we go. This catalyst day was on earnings. Oh, I can't move that. Oh, that'd be nice. Okay, so I'll just go drag it right there. Was on earnings from this date, and it was on high volume. So imagine volumes down there, high volume. It was red and broke the low the next following days. That's extra information we have now. We didn't know during that day that it was going to do that, but we suspected. So anyway, what that means is that it has many, many reasons why this is a very important resistive topside resistance. But we also know that that was a double top almost around there as well, or that it also has some resistance around that area. So we've got one resistance there, a double top resistance there, the catalyst day resistance. So I have a lot of thesis why I don't think price is ever going to get above this level within the next couple weeks. Then we also have bottoming tail candles here and a lot of supportive type action from this level down here around 33. So I have some reason to think that it's not going to be easy for price to get down here, although it can. So then I looked at, okay, June 21, which is right around here for expiration. It turned out I was able to get the 32.30 spread. So from this current price to 32 and then 30. So between 32 and 30, and I got that for like around 30 cents. So that'd be like 32.70, 31.70. So this angle like that. And then I got the 39.41. Not sure if I got exactly that, but I believe I did. Maybe I got the 38.40. Yeah, I think I might have got the 38.40 for a similar price. So we're looking at that. But I thought I got the 39.41. That would be what I wanted. I may have made a mistake there, but okay, I'll be under a little bit more pressure for being correct on this trade. But so there we go as far as it sets up. And then as it moves around, let's say it comes back up, starts to want to test that upside, that top side, has a strong reaction, and then anything in here inside that mouth, and that trade works out. Or let's say it ends up coming down. Now I'm in the mouth and it does something like this. Oh, it gets to that, support region and has a strong reaction. And now, I'll probably be at nearly 90% profit at that point. So yeah, it's an interesting trade, a theta trade with 48% potential return on capital. Very nice. Clear that off. But now I just want to double check. What did I put on? Yeah, I did accidentally get the 38.40. Oh, hang on. What? Is it saying I didn't get filled? Okay, good, because I'd like to modify that. I didn't get filled yet. I would like the 39.41. That would be a little bit better. All right, now I gotta let that gestate. and wait to fill. So then what filled while we were talking? Let's see. Looks like my call credit spread on VRT. I think no, I think we got that while we were talking earlier. All right. What else we got here? So that's Cart, and then we got Monday and HubSpot. Those are at the top of the lists. Monday, huge Catalyst Day move, gap up on Monday, 22.5% up on what appears to be 300% RVol. So now we check the options, usually on Catalyst Day, but not always. The options don't really qualify. It's already traded 7,000 options. That's good. That sounds pretty liquid. By the end of the day, maybe it'll have done 20, 25,000. The 20 delta is at 18 delta. It's at 200. That's all the way back down here by June 21. That's pretty nice. Very unlikely. Um, it's now 19, so it's almost perfect. But the bid-ask spread is fairly wide. What is the width on that? 270 divided by 275 divided by 380. Clear. 275 divided by 380. 28% width. Not great. Not great. And how about on the August? Looks like the next ones out are 93 days, August 16. I'll just take a look at it, but that's too far out. The 20 delta is about the 185 level and is 650 divided by 750. That's fine. That one is fine and pays properly and accordingly, but we will be talking about this. It's like way off out there. We're talking about August 16, August 16, August 16. There we are. The 183.75. August which thing? August 16. Oh, that's my dad's birthday. 183. Boom. That's pretty doable too. But look, it's going red as we speak. Like, I mean, that's not going red yet, but it's not holding green. So this might be something we look at the end of the day. And then the August 16th, amazingly enough, more liquid than the June 21s. You know, that's the way it is sometimes. These things have their reasonings, probably because earnings is right after that, right before that date. So people are already positioning for or hedging against future earnings. All right. Let's see here. BRT ANET. Oh yeah, ANET going strong. That alert went out a couple days ago, so hopefully you're in ANET. SE. SE moving nice. The fact that it was red on ER day and now green might create a good options liquidity and pricing. Let me check. SC. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have a lot of strikes to offer. Deltas are too skippy. Yeah, the bid-ask spread's nice, but this stock maybe just moves too slow. I love that chart though. On. Love that chart. Could be good for shares traders. Right now it's a little bit extended though. On 4% ADR, mostly sideways-ish stock. These are all the tops, all the ones that are on our top lists here. But look at, we're about 75% red. So I think it'd be a good idea to hold off from getting in positions today. But I'm gonna look at the on options liquidity here. Also similar problem and about 17% spread. Okay, so nothing there. I think we'll probably just let this day flesh out because it opened elevated and has turned red, and that's an island top. So, like we saw many times before, like I just look at this chart. How many times has an island top turned into at least the next day being down? Every time. Look, find the island tops. Here's one, resulted in pullback. 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 So for the overnight or today to tomorrow thinking, you can expect tomorrow to either open down here and then be green, as you've seen many times before on some of these prior ones, like this one, or it could end up being a red day like that one. So either way, that's what we're probably looking at tomorrow, whether we end up here or end up here. Overall, that's lower. So you can expect lower prices tomorrow. So if that helps you in your positioning and your portfolio and your hedging and your outlook, there you go. All right. Are we all up to speed now? Let's see how this day goes. Let's go back into the group to keep on top of opportunities and talk to each other about what's going on. And then end of day alerts, if it looks like a good moment to get into anything, yeah, those will go out end of day. All right. Have a good morning, everybody. See you back in the group. Trade smarter, trade safer.